Disney Plus has the latest Marvel installment, and it is Wonder Man. And it is a wonder why everybody is talking about this show. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes by all of us. So let's get to talking about the series Wonder Man. Welcome back to Collard Greens and Nerdy Things, your favorite one stop shop for all things nerdy. I am your host, King, and this is the greatest co host in the multiverse, JC3. And today we are talking about the latest installment from Disney Plus, Wonder Man. And if you like to talk about nerdy things like Marvel, Star Wars, WWE, like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, get down in there and tell us your thoughts. We love engaging with you guys and we always appreciate when you do. So let's just kick it off. What is our first thoughts of the show, Wonder Man? Jay, hit us.
Bruh, like I didn't think that a combination of Yahya Abdul-Mateen Jr. and Ben Kingsley is what we needed in the MCU. But the Marvel has a habit of surprising us every now and then, and this show definitely surprised me. I absolutely love the pairing of those two. We had the show is mainly about a character named Simon Williams, very charismatic and passionate actor who is having trouble getting out of his own way, or for that matter, he's just in fear of really accepting his true self because he has superpowers. And along the way, he's just trying to make it. Meets Trevor Slattery, and by that meeting, Trevor helps him get out of his own way, and they kind of form a bond, a friendship, a bromance, even within this whole story. And I absolutely enjoyed it, man. And there were many times where like I kind of forgot that this was even a superhero origin story, but that's not like bad at all. Just because I think that just shows how great this show really is. That you could really just have this show about two struggling actors just trying to get their big break, and that alone had me hooked from beginning to end.
Well, you hit something on the head right there, and I think the show itself doesn't always feel like you're watching a Marvel show or a superhero-based show. It's just two guys who are struggling actors who are trying to make it to their next break. And the acting that those two do in this show is incredible. People who have not seen it yet, I would absolutely suggest you go watch this. Of course, Sir Ben Kingsley, one of the greatest actors. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II is a incredible actor, and it's really displayed through this show. I think Marvel allowed this show to do something that the other ones didn't, and really sit in itself. And they're just trying to get a job. Simon hears that his favorite childhood movie is now being remade by the original maker, and he can think nothing but I just want to be in this show. And he's trying his hardest. And more than it is people with superpowers, it's just two guys. And I think that's where Marvel did it its best. It allows people who maybe are Marvel adjacent or not big nerds or didn't read the comics to just jump into a show with two likable dudes just trying to figure it out. And I think that's what I love best about the show. It's a really great show in that it just allows it to be itself. So the next question is, what is your favorite part?
Oh man, like it's hard to narrow down just one. I'll say the first thing that comes to mind, just my favorite parts in general with the show are when Trevor and Simon are just in Simon's apartment and they're just sitting down trying to trade. They're not trying, but they are trading monologues. It's through that you see the genuine talent that they have as actors. This show is played up for laughs a lot as well. There's a lot of funny moments in this, but this show can be very heartfelt as well. And when these two are just alone in a room together and they're just working off of each other, it's weird because these are actors playing actors, but when they start acting, you understand why they're actors because they're just that good. I would say those are some of my favorite scenes with those two just talking. Another favorite scene of mine, I would have to say that it was when they're in Von Kovacs. house auditioning for the role of Wonder Man, and we get that sequence where Simon is supposed to like be improv. He's just supposed to be going off what the actor's doing in front of him, and it just seems like he's not up to par. And the actor that he's acting with is just mocking him, and you're just wondering, man, like you're really going really deep with this, just saying that this dude will never be anything. And then all of a sudden, Simon gets so worked up that he punches right through dude's head. And in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, either this is a dream sequence or this show just went completely left. Luckily, it was just a dream sequence, but I'd say those are some scenes that I enjoyed.
I really thought the same thing. Thought the exact same thing. When he punched him through the head, I was like, "Whoa, this just kind of turned into The Boys." And this show was about to take a big left turn. And then it was just a dream sequence. And it was a great moment. I have a couple that jumped out of my head as we were talking. One being the scene when they were trying to get the video back that showed Simon had powers, and they followed that boy, and they thought he was selling drugs, and he was literally selling candy. One of my favorite scenes that's not funny but takes an emotional depth was the scene when they were going to shoot the callback, and they were in their apartment doing the scene together, where you're looking at Simon's character but you can hear um, Ben Kingsley's character in the background. Like you said, these are two actors showing us how they got the job. Very meta, right? It's two actors showing actors, and the stuff they're doing in the show is the stuff they would have had to do to get the job that they're doing on screen. You really realize in those moments, those two are some of the best working actors we have. And the drama, the pull in, the draw that you get when Yaya's talking and they're doing that monologue, it's insane. The emotion, the drama is incredibly insane, and I love that. And it shows the depth of why these guys are the way they are and why you're starting to see Yaya in more movies and more things. Give this man what he deserves because he's an incredible actor. And
Absolutely.
the last one I gotta say was just Trevor meeting the family and his mom and all the jokes and him trying to get information, and Yaya kept coming up to him to be like, "What are you doing? Hey, you're supposed to be helping me." I love those moments because it gave more depth to the character, right? We got to see what Simon's family looks like. We also got to see some flashbacks, and we get to see a little of his culture. You know, their French Creole, they're speaking in their native language. I love to see the dynamic between him and his family, except for his brother. His brother's an asshole. He comes around, but he's an asshole.
Yeah, yeah, it comes around very fast.
What was what was probably one of your favorite parts that was kind of a standout that you didn't expect, or something that just kind of jumped out on you?
Definitely something that I did not expect from this show in general was how much Trevor Slattery was going to affect me in this. In previous installments, he's really played up for laughs. He's usually the corny part in the butt of the jokes. But in this show, he's genuine, and like you really feel for him in his situation as well. I mean, we've known this character all the way back since Iron Man 3 in 2013. And for his character to have like come full circle now after this show, it really surprised me. The fact that we find out that Trevor is working for the Department of Damage Control to catch Simon. You just see his struggle because this person that he's supposed to catch, he's becoming really close with. And in the end, in the end the truth comes out, but he decides to take a bullet for Simon because there's a big explosion caused by Simon near the end of this show, and Trevor makes the choice to renew his Mandarin persona to take the blame for that explosion. And that to me, just that's one of the best moments of the show, period, just because this is a character who's not, he doesn't take responsibility for his own actions and the things that he's done. But now this is him taking the bullet for his friend and willing to go to prison while his friend becomes a new up and coming movie star. And I found that very touching.
I have to agree. My answer as well was the same. It was I didn't expect Trevor Slattery to be the character he was. You know, we saw him in the promo art, and you figure he was going to be kind of like the older actor who's teaching the younger actor the ropes or helping him along his way. But I didn't expect that he would be working for Damage Control. And it all makes sense when he got back to the United States. The United States, no matter what, they didn't see what we saw in the movie, so they don't know that he's an actor playing a terrorist. As far as everyone's concerned, he is a terrorist. So Damage Control, who's taking, who's being real heavy. We're starting to see a lot of Damage Control in the MCU, kind of taking the place of Shield, since Shield is not really doing much right now. And Sword kind of took the place of Shield. So we kind of have new stand-ins. But for them to be just on the hunt for Simon, and also not knowing that Simon had powers confirming, they knew it, but they didn't know it, and they needed Trevor to prove it. But Trevor found a kindred spirit in Simon, and he could not let him go to where he knew he was going to go. He didn't want him locked up and locked away. And so he made the decision to, like you said, full circle moment, and full circle in the opposite way. He went all the way back to taking up the persona of the Mandarin. Crazy part, at the end, y'all, he don't stay in jail long. So I thought that was really cool. Let me ask you, what was your favorite episode? I think you and I have the exact same favorite episode, but what was your favorite?
Yeah, yeah, I think we do. My favorite episode, I believe, was episode 4, titled Doorman. And ladies and gentlemen, again, just a testament to how great this show is. All of these episodes are really, really good. But the Doorman episode is essentially its own standalone episode as well, because Ben Kingsley isn't in it. Abdul-Mateen Jr. isn't in it. It follows this nightclub doorman who gets powers via Roxanne. Nice little callback. And it's probably one of the funniest episodes, but also one of the most tragic, because it's explained why in the MCU, superheroes can't be actors. They have what's called a doorman clause. And that's because what's happened to this character in this standalone episode is just very, very shocking. But you see why this clause has been enacted, because he has the power to just have objects or people go right through him. And he takes this, I call Z list power, and rides it all the way up to fame. But as he becomes famous, he kind of gets looked at more of a joke as time goes on. And he finally gets another big break, another big role with a very big actor played by Josh Gad playing himself. And Josh Gad ends up getting stuck in the doorman. And that episode just took such a big twist for me. It was funny to see that happen, but at the same time, you're just like, whoa, like that's pretty serious. Like that whole episode, top to bottom, was amazing to me. It kind of gave me like Werewolf by Night vibes, and I completely enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, here in the real world, we still don't know where Josh Gad is. He's been gone since he stepped into Doorman, and nobody knows where he's at. So if anybody knows, let us know. We're worried. We're very worried. But my favorite episode was also the Doorman episode, and it's a couple reasons. One, it reminded me of The Last of Us, episode 4, right? Always the big episode, and they took a side quest. This story, like you said, was not about Simon. It wasn't about the main storyline. This is a second B storyline. And the tragic part is it is to only set up the fact that Simon is going to be an actor who has superpowers, and that's later going to come into conflict. But the Dorman character was so amazing. When I was watching it, I initially thought, could this be a backdoor pilot for Cloak and Dagger, right? Similar powers, same thing. I didn't really realize in that moment that no, he's Doorman. He's a totally different character. But another little cool callback is Cloak and Dagger got their powers from Roxanne, And Roxxon is now making a bigger impact in the MCU, just like Damage Control. So we're starting to see these corporations and these big entities from the comics pop up in the real world and set up our heroes. So it kind of felt like it was a backdoor pilot, right? All black and white, totally different, all the different people, none of the characters you know in the main storyline. Good B story, but it only set up the fact that superheroes cannot be actors. And in the end, Doorman ends up in prison where Trevor did not want Simon to end up being, right? So really sad, but really great, engaging story and different from Marvel. Like you said, it is reminiscent of Werewolf by Night by having that black and white aesthetic and only that way. So favorite episode overall. But our let's go into our final thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and give mine first, and then Jay will take us on out as he usually does. Overall, for me, this was a 9.5 out of 10. I don't know exactly what it could have done to get the rest of that point 0.5, but this was a fantastic show. Easily one of Marvel's best shows. It just was a regular show with people who happen to be in the Marvel universe. And by the end of the show, us getting to see Wonder Man in his full costume and then using his superpowers to get Trevor out of prison shows us that there's definitely more to tell and a bigger story going on. So I can't wait to see what's next. We know we get the same director for the next Spider-Man movie, and he has not missed yet. So for me, great show. Love this and appreciate y'all who are riding along with us. Jay, give us your final thoughts.
Absolutely. Like you, I thought this show was great. I would probably give the show an 8. I give it an 8.5 out of 10. The only really small gripes for me were again, these characters, the main two leads are just so good. It really didn't give the supporting cast like enough time, I think, to show more. For me, like you said, his brother is a little bit of an asshole, and we got another great moment where his brother is just egging him on to the point where he just slams his whole mama's kitchen table just to bits. Like that was amazing. But right after he gets big in Hollywood, all of a sudden, him and his brother's issues are resolved. So that was really my only gripe with the show. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, just take note that this is a superhero show, but we barely talked about his ionic powers just because the drama between these two characters it's really just that good. Again, this show is just about two struggling actors trying to make it, and as they're trying to make it, they become friends. And ultimately, if you like a good bromance, you'll love this show, in my opinion. So those are my final thoughts on it. The one question I have for you peoples, and I feel free to leave it down in the comments. What do you think Damage Control is going to do next? They are rounding up rogue superheroes. Could that be a possible plot point in the future? Let us know what you think. But thank you for watching the video. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, stay nerdy, my friends.